And I think, Jackie, the secret sauce is the communication between our teams. More and more people are witnessing the difference between the surgery back in New Zealand and in India. And they're realizing that, it makes sense to come to India for the surgery.
I went back to New Zealand and I thought, I've found what I want.
For any patient, I think the fear of unknown is a very big factor.
Because I think our journey starts way before the client gets here.
In India, what we do is that we want to be completely transparent with the patients. That is one of the key factors in building up this trust and a beautiful collaboration as it has been going on.
A lot of people feel that medical tourism can be a DIY, whereas I don't agree. And a lot of people have come here and said that, we feel that we are a third world country back home while they're staying in a developed country. We do not want to sell procedures, we want to sell experience. Ironically, a lot of people that I've met before the surgery, they tell us India was never on our mind. We never thought we would ever go to India. But after the surgery, there's a dramatic shift in their attitude, They say, my God, I love India, I want to come back.
Hi, on this episode of Healing Beyond Borders, where we discuss stories beyond the borders about their, medical experiences and other cultural backgrounds. And we have very special guests here today. They have a very beautiful collaboration. It's basically a collaboration, as you can say, between India and New Zealand. So we have one medical tourism company called IndiCure, which actually, empowers and works in India. And the other one by Ms. Jackie Brown. It's called Tums Gums. It's from New Zealand. And we would talk about this beautiful story of collaboration and how it has been working out for everybody. So let's get to their stories. So first of all, I would like to welcome you to this podcast. And we can start off with a brief introduction of both of yourselves. We'll start with Ms. Jackie.
Okay, now you might think I'm sitting here trying to be like some Bollywood queen with my sunglasses on, but I'm going to let you into a little secret. Watch this. I'm about to unveil. I had lower breath surgery only 2 days ago. And so today I'm sitting here showing you in all my glory exactly what it's like to have surgery. And I'm quite proud of it. It's silly me trying to cover it up, so I'm sharing it with you. But thank you for having me on today. This is wonderful.
It's lovely to have you. And Ms. Anu, so we would like to know a little bit about yourself and about IndiCure as well.
Sure. So thank you for having me here. And I come from a very clinical and background. I've done my master's in hospital administration and graduation in human biology from AIMS. And then I saw a big gap, when patients from overseas travel to India, though there's a lot of expertise available with the best of surgeons, there was a huge gap. They were sort of lost when they come here. And so we started IndiCure to bridge that clinical gap. We thought that the surgeon's expertise alone is not enough. They need a holding hand, somebody who can guide them. And that is how we started IndiCure.
That's lovely. And for you, Ms. Jackie, how did Bums, Tums and Gums? I mean, the name itself is very catchy.
I know. So for many, many years, I've been in the travel industry. So I started when I was about 18 years old. So we're talking a long time ago because I'm now 70. So I started way back working as a travel agent in the UK, traveled all over the world, worked in Malaysia, I've lived overseas. And then 30 years ago, I came to live in New Zealand and I opened a travel agency. And then I started teaching travel and tourism, and I started teaching on the degree and the postgrad. But 17 years ago, I saw there was a gap in our market. People always thought surgery was for those rich and famous, and I realized it wasn't. So I started doing medical tourism 17 years ago, and then I used to take, well, I still do, I take people to Mexico. And one of my clients that went to Mexico for bariatric surgery, a few months later, she rang and she said, Jackie, I want to go to India. Now, I'd already just come back from India. I did 3 weeks researching. And then Claire said, and Claire is a nurse in New Zealand, she said, oh, I want to have a hip replacement. So would you come with me? And I said, look, I'd love to come with you, but certain conditions, I want to come with you and learn about it by your side. I want to see how it unrolls and unfolds and how everything happens. And after that 2.5 weeks, I went back to New Zealand and I thought, I've found what I want. I mean, for many years I've been dealing in Mexico, Thailand, but I felt at home. And when I met Anu here, I just thought, this is somebody I trust, because it's the industry that you can't just throw it open. You've got to have something deep inside that resonates. And I think meeting you and your team, it resonated. And because we are creatures of emotion, so people buy through emotion. And I feel comfortable. I mean, look, I'm sitting here in bright lights with eyes like this, and I still feel comfortable.
That's a wonderful, point of trust where you need to build, because I think medical tourism in general needs to be built up on trust. So I would want to know from you, Ms. Jackie, what brought on this trust onto, like our company in India in general. So what brought that on?
I think my very first tour here, I saw how everything worked like an oil wheel, a well-oiled machine. Everything worked. People weren't left hanging. There was on-site people the whole time helping me. I actually bring somebody with me to give me a hand with the larger groups. But I had IndiCure staff, and they are a family. They're like family to me, but also family to each other. And I could feel that. And the clients can feel that as well. And that's how I felt. And it's about the trust. And of course, the trust in the doctors. But it trickles down to the people that are helping our people through.
That is actually very lovely. And Ms. Anu, I think you play a very big role in, running that machinery very smoothly. So what do you think would be, one aspect that you want to point out here in, when we are building trust amongst two companies, which, she operates from New Zealand, we are operating in India. So what do you think there's certain gap that, we need to fill out in this area?
So since we started, it, as she rightly said, it was a well-oiled machine. And we started running from as soon as we, started. It was a smooth sail. For IndiCure, something new which we learned, or which was new for us, was doing it on scale. Before she had come, we were doing individual journeys of the patient. But with a group, the dynamics change, a lot of group dynamics that are involved. But we have done very well as a team, I think. Yes.
Well.
And I think, Jackie, the secret sauce is the communication between our teams, As soon as you send us the queries, our team just gets onto it, and there's a smooth sailing. And the handover of patients from New Zealand to India is completely seamless.
I think so too. There's a continuity, because I think our journey starts way before the client gets here.
Absolutely.
Way before. So once they first make that inquiry, and then of course I follow up, they get handouts every week. And I say, print them out, put them in a folder, read them at your leisure. So I go through all the cultural differences, what to expect post-surgery, what to expect when we get to the hotel. I try and cover even a packing list of what you should and what you don't need to bring. So it goes way beyond that departure. I think for me, it would start months prior. And that's where we've got that continuity.
And when they land here, we have a team on the ground who takes over. And, we make it seamless by helping you out with visas and, providing all the information about visas. On the ground, we have team on the ground who take care of their appointments, what to bring to the hospital, what to expect. If they have any issues at the hospital, that's immediately solved. So there's a seamless communication between you and our team on the ground. So that is what makes the patient feel happy and,
Connect.
Right.
So I think, and other than that, I think what we can do is, we are actually doing that, is that we are also providing them with the video consultation to make them feel at ease, which is, I think, a very big aspect, because that way the patients can actually connect with the person that they are going to be operated by. and that brings on a huge level of trust in that very aspect, because of course you're traveling from a different country and coming to a very different area. So I think that's one of the most crucial aspects that we are actually working on in India. So I think that's something to be
Yeah, so for any patient, I think the fear of unknown is a
Yes.
very big factor.
It is.
And if you can handle it properly, that though you are in a new country, in a totally different country, you will be well taken care of. And everything we are telling you would be as is. You would not be greeted with surprises. So we make the surprises as low as possible. We reduce that factor.
We absolutely, I think, something that, in India, what we do is that we want to be completely transparent with the patients. That is one of the key factors in building up this trust and a beautiful collaboration, as it has been going on.
Yeah.
So we are like a family now.
We are like a
Collaboration.
family.
Of course, absolutely. Because I think you have come for the second time with the group.
Yes, with the group. Yes.
And, how has that experience been for you?
It's been wonderful. And you're right, because it is the unknown. And because New Zealand is so far from everywhere else in the world. I mean, we're 3 hours plane ride from anywhere. So anything out that, many people have been to Australia, whereas they go India. So they have this image, and it is the unknown. So one of the things I do is I have Zoom meetings myself with clients when they want it and talk them through it. And I'm often on the phone because everyone has anxieties, of course they do. And when people ring me, I said it wouldn't be natural if you weren't slightly nervous.
Yeah.
Of course you're going to be nervous. But having me on the ground here, great example today, one of my ladies here, there's 20 of us here, 21 of us here, rang and said, hey, I'm wondering, I might need a wheelchair on the way back. So I get straight onto the airline, straight away, within minutes, it's all organised. The wheelchair is organised. So she's got that pressure taken off of her shoulders. So her flights are booked, everything's booked. I book wheelchairs for those I know are going to need it. Everyone has a wheelchair prepared, and seats are booked, and everything is done for that client. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just like to add that here that a lot of people feel that medical tourism can be a DIY, whereas I don't agree. They definitely need a lot of support. You are most vulnerable after a surgery. So let's not make it, I would suggest DIY, do it yourself. No, you need a supporting hand after the surgery when you're recovering.
Yeah.
And a trustable company or trustable people do make the entire process much easier.
Oh, I totally agree. Because it's not just, sometimes a bit of physical support, helping them down to the restaurant, helping with the menu, but it's the emotional support.
Actually.
That is, I've got a bit of a background in counselling and life coaching, and I think that has added to it. And when I can, I bring somebody who's got very similar EQ as myself, because it's important we have the right people on the ground.
Absolutely.
And IndiCure have the right people, and I believe I have the right team that all have a heart.
Yeah.
And I always try and say we listen to what's not being said.
Yeah.
It's finding the underlying, and then realizing there might be somebody that's a little bit anxious, picking up on that and just assuring them.
Yeah.
I think it's a very beautiful, said collaboration, or a family as now we have become.
Yeah.
So, and I would like to ask you, what was your first meeting like with Miss Jackie, and what turned this into a beautiful, journey that we are now seeing?
I remember the first meeting with you very clearly, and I think it clicked because we were on the same plane. For us, our patients' safety, their trust was more important than anything else, and that is why. And your energy, your enthusiasm is infectious. And but yeah, what clicked instantly was that my clients, my patients come first rather than anything else. And because that wavelength matched, we could instantaneously, get things going, and there's been no looking back.
No, that's lovely. I think it's about the passion.
Yeah.
The passion is the most important thing that yes, I am high energy. I know I am. I don't slow down. But that works because I know when to slow down and I know when to give that person that time. And other times it's like, come on, ladies, and gentlemen, we're going shopping. Come on down to a restaurant. We're all going to eat together. So there is that lovely mix that goes on.
I think the energy that you bring into the environment in general is, I think, which actually makes us more enthusiastic about things as well. Like even with of course, handling a group of patients is no joke. Actually, it's no joke. It's really no joke. So, like, with the enthusiasm that you have brought onto us as well, like, it has infectiously spread, like Ms. Anu said that rightly. So, I think that's one of the aspects that, make us also, work in a manner that, of course, we would like to, bring in that sort of warmth and care to them. So, I think that's something which is quite wonderful. And for you, Ms. Jackie, what was your first meet like with Ms. Anu?
It was fabulous. And like you said, we were just straight away on the same page, because you can judge and you can gauge people's feelings. And I knew I was working with the right team. And, I have a Claire comes and helps me. She was my very first person that came here. She was a nurse. She came here. I now bring her on the trips as well. We have other people that come with us during the year. But my first meeting was, I just felt comfortable. I felt like I'd come home. And you don't always get that. Working overseas, you don't always get that. I was a tour guide for many, many years, and I've been in the travel industry for many years. And you're not going to feel comfortable with everyone you meet, but I did here. And I can say that with my full heart.
That's amazing. And so what is something, like you have brought on patients in the past as well. This is the second trip and we are looking ahead another trip, middle of this year. So what has the feedback from the patients been like? Or like what is the experience in general that they have, I'm sure they must have faced certain challenges because there's a, certain amount of cultural difference, certain amount of things that work differently in India than in New Zealand. So what were some challenges or a feedback that they had regarding this?
I think every journey is going to have its challenge. And I think one of the aspects of this, my job is to try and remove the sting, if there is one. And yes, of course, there's always going to be challenges. And it could be that, for example, New Zealand are quite structured. Boom, 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 boom. And when they say, oh, well, I've been here a little while, and I said, just remember though, back in New Zealand, you can wait 5 and 6 hours nowadays to see a doctor, and they forget that. And the other night I was reminding them, just to say that you elected to come here. That sounds really harsh, but I said it in a nice way. I said, it was nice that we have these choices in our lives, that you've chosen to come to India for your surgery, because sometimes you can go down a rabbit hole. You've had your surgery, and then everything's a little bit overwhelming. But they always rise up at the end. And it's, before I even go away, I always say to all the group, you're going to love me now. You're going to love me before surgery. The day after surgery, not so much. Suddenly, I'm not your best friend. A few days later, you like me a little bit more. And by the time we're going home, I'm your best friend again. And we'll be friends forever. So it's just those, you go with the roles, basically.
I think the best thing that is being done from both the sides is setting the expectations right of the patients, If you tell them what to expect, so that they're mentally prepared, that they will have pain and they'll be in agony for a few days. So, and if you tell them that there's Indian system of, timing, which is not as per how New Zealand goes. So they when you have set the expectations right, I think people are lovely. They understand that medical system can be a little up and down, but
of course. And it is in New Zealand, they can be waiting years just for some surgery. And I was talking to a lady just recently on the phone who has been accepted on the public health system back in New Zealand, and yet her GP has said, I'm really disappointed you're not going to India. I think you're going to get better health system up there for your surgery. And so she's actually coming in June.
Oh, wow.
Because she's decided and spoken to other clients. And that's something else. I'm always happy to connect one client with another client that's been, so they can talk about their experience. So I actually think we're going to start getting our medical practitioners seeing it in a different light as it evolves. Because it is early days, but it's evolving.
No, I was talking to Claire last night, and she was telling me about her experience of knee replacement back in New Zealand, vis-a-vis both hip replacements in India. And she said that categorically, that there's a huge difference. You know, she was in pain for many, many days after knee replacement. And here she was walking like
straight away,
within a
days.
week.
Within days.
And because we do a robotic surgery, and the surgeons are much more experienced. They are doing the surgery day in and day out because of, you know, the number of people that we have, because of the population. They are so experienced. So more and more people are witnessing the difference between the surgery back in New Zealand and in India. And they're realizing that, you know, it makes sense to come to India for the surgery.
And I think to mention, one thing I didn't mention there is how much respect our Kiwi clients have for your surgeons. They all say they are the most beautifully mannered, well-spoken, they explain everything, and they give them time. They're not just rushed through, they're given time, and they really enjoy the company and speaking to the surgeons.
And when they come down here, we sort of cocoon them, you know. I know Mumbai and India is a lot of chaos, but when they feel cocooned right from the airport till the time they go back, they feel safe, they feel wanted, they feel, you know, they're being well taken care of. So that adds on to that entire experience. You know, they come scared and a little fearful, but when they're going back, they are going happy with the medical adventure.
I had two people at dinner last night said, do you know what? I wouldn't mind if we got delayed here for months and months. And I said, really? Because we're going back on Monday. No, I'd be quite happy to stay here for 6 months, they're saying. So, which is really proof is in the pudding when they say things like that.
Absolutely. And that helps, that keeps us motivated to do some better work. So we do not want to sell procedures. We want to sell experience. We want them to see more of India, experience what India has to offer. And it's totally different.
It is.
It's beautiful, actually. And I think, you know, there are misconceptions in, you know, people's mind outside of India that, you know, it's still a developing country. So there are some sort of myths that, you know, they're outspread. Like, you know, we have seen patients in the past who have come up and said, oh my God, people knew English all along and we were so surprised by that. And that, I think that was the most surprising thing that we have heard. But other than that, regarding the healthcare infrastructure and the facilities that we have, what are some myths that you would like to burst for those people?
Well, when we started, or in fact, till date, the biggest problem or the biggest obstacle that we face is the stigma around or fear around traveling to India. Of course, there's no denying that India is a developing country. We are a work in progress, and it'll take a while before we actually get there, become a developed nation, become a rich nation. There's no denying the fact. But if you look at healthcare, I think we are far advanced than a lot of developed countries in the world. I would not like to name, but we are definitely much better than a lot of developed countries. And a lot of people have come here and said that, you know, we feel that we are a third world country back home while they're staying in a developed country. Because we are using the most advanced technology, be it robotic surgeries for cardiac, for urology, gynecology, robotic joint replacements. We are doing proton therapy, card cell therapy, the best. And now we are using AI for diagnostics. So we've got the best of the technology in the world. Our hospitals are accredited, like JCI accredited, NABH accredited, which means the quality, the infrastructure, the hygiene, everything is at par with the US or with the best in the world. Our surgeons are so experienced, you know. they see many more number of patients every day than the doctors in
Anywhere
developed
else.
countries they see in years.
Absolutely.
So they have that kind of experience. So I would just like to say on this platform that if you do your research thoroughly, if you do, if you find the right people who can get you to India, India is the best place to be for the medical travel, for your treatment.
I totally agree. Having worked all over the world, 54 countries, and here I am, and I just feel this is top level service. Surgeons are wonderful. I just can't praise it enough.
Yeah. And we've had patients from now almost 70, more than 70 countries. And categorically, each and every patient tells us that, the kind of care we get here is amazing. They've not seen it in their own country. And yeah.
I mean, I'm originally from London. I'm actually been in New Zealand for quite a few years, lived in Australia. But when I go back to the UK, I look at the health system there, and they're going through the same doldrums. It's really difficult. So, I mean, I think if anyone is watching this from overseas, I mean, I'm from the UK, and I would definitely come here for my surgery if anything I needed. And we're not only talking orthopedic and all that. Look at the eyes. Facelifts, dental. I had my dental done here. Really affordable. Tummy tucks, breast reductions, you name it, we can do it.
And ironically, a lot of people that I've met before the surgery, they tell us India was never on our mind. We never thought we would ever go to India. But after the surgery, there's a dramatic shift in their attitude. They say, my God, I love India. I want to come back.
They do.
Most of the people tell me that.
And I think that's right. So many people. I think it's going to increase your tourism as well.
Yeah.
Because people definitely want to come back. I've got a lady on this trip who came for a facelift. And when I say eye surgery, she had the reflective lens surgery. She's already booking to come back to get her dental done. She said, I'd never have thought of it before because I met her somewhere, and she said, I never thought of India till I spoke to you. Yeah. And now you can see how it will multiply in time.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you embrace India, there's so much that India offers you. If you don't only look at poverty or, I know there are a lot of negative things, but if you take it in a positive spirit that we are a developing country, India has so much to offer you. We accept everybody with open arms.
Yes. Yeah, the warmth and the colours and all of that.
So it's a saying here, we truly believe that in the words Atithi Devo Bhav, which means the guest is like a god. The god comes to us in the form of guest. And we really want to, truly live up to that.
And you do.
Saying. Yes.
And you do.
Thank you.
That's absolutely lovely. I was actually going to ask you a question as to, you have traveled to so many countries. I think 54 is, as you've mentioned. What are certain differences that you have seen in those countries as compared to the ones, like you're facing right now in India? Like, you've taken people to Mexico, Thailand, and...
Yeah, that's a really good question, because people will often say, what's your favourite country? And of course, we all have different levels of favourites, And as a tour guide for many, many years, there's always those areas like, we always say, oh, I love Italy, I love France. The differences I feel here is the people. It's the people. It's the good manners. It's the good, the respectfulness. For many years, I've taught tourism, and majority of my students on the higher level education actually were Indian. And so I got to know a lot of people from India through my teaching. And I'd always wanted to come here. My father was based here during the war. And I remember growing up looking at photographs of India when I was young, and it's always been on my bucket list. So one of the differences is here I feel quite complete. Really complete. Some countries you can go to and you're always the tourist. Whereas here I see it through a completely different lens. I feel very comfortable. I have no fears. I am an adventurer, and I will walk. One day I walked for 15 Ks, no hassles, never a problem. And I have my Google Maps and I walk around, and I've always felt a lot more secure than in some countries overseas where you wouldn't go out late at night. Here I would, because at night is where you come alive.
Yeah.
I'm normally in bed at 9 o'clock. And last night I went to a mall and I just saw the magic of all the people, and it was late at night, whereas I'm normally tucked up in bed. That is what I see the difference, and it is a magic, real magic in the air, actually. Yeah.
I think that is something that we can take as a positive note. I mean, to other countries as well, like, who say that, it's not safe to go out late at night, or, not to have, a certain amount of fun when, of course, in Mumbai, the night is, the one place where you actually come alive, and, you see all the beautiful aspects, the beautiful lightings, and people come out in a more lively mood than ever. So I think that's something to indulge in and enjoy.
Because in New Zealand, anyone from New Zealand watching this, you all know we close up at 5:30. And I noticed when I was guiding from the cruise ships, they were saying, well, where is everything? I said, no, it's all the shops are closed.
Yeah.
So here, it's magical to be able to say, come on, we're going out to the shops. It's 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night.
So Mumbai is a city that never sleeps.
Never sleeps.
And I got the same culture shock when I was in New Zealand. My God, 6 o'clock, nothing was open. Nothing was open.
Yeah.
I think for us, it's the opposite, whenever we travel outside of India. I think for us, it's like, because, 8 o'clock is like, oh my God, the night has just started to come up and, alive. Why are things shutting down at such an hour?
Well, I'm
Yeah.
just I'm going, I might watch a bit of Coronation Street, which is one of our TV, and then I'm going to go to bed. So I'm in bed by 9. We're not here. There's just so much going on. Even just walking around in the evening is safe, really safe.
Yeah, so Mumbai is a very safe city, one of the safest in the world. And a lot of women have this apprehension that when they travel to Mumbai, you will be ogled at, you will not feel safe. But you've been coming here.
Yeah, I mean, I've done some touring around India, and I've always felt safe. I think the one aspect you were talking about, one of the things I have found, which is quite funny, is because European, I'm tall, I'm blonde. Everyone wants their photo taken. So you have photos with mum, photos with auntie, photos holding baby, baby and auntie. And it can take me an hour to get out of somewhere. My husband's a photographer. And when we were traveling, he just said, gosh, we have to give you an hour just to get out, because everyone wants their photo taken, which is quite lovely. So my face is probably all over India.
I think you probably are camera's favorite.
Oh, not with these eyes. When I come back in June and I'm looking glam and fabulous, you can do this again.
We can surely do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, coming back to the business aspect of the things, so what are certain challenges that both of you have faced while building your business? I mean, your business has been around for more than 15 years in the country. So, what are certain challenges, or and how did you plan to overcome them? Because I knew that COVID was a time frame where everything was at hold, like it was completely seized. So that must be a really prominent thing to overcome.
Yeah. COVID definitely disrupted the entire travel industry. We took it in our stride. That was a learning phase. We reinvented ourselves. We redid our website. We redid our processes. We thought what was missing pre-COVID, now we will plug those challenges and we rebuild ourselves. As I said previously, the biggest challenge we still face is the people's perception about India. And I would like to say that again, that India is a very safe country. And if you choose the right service provider, you get the best of medical care, the elite services at not so elite prices. That's what India has
Very
to
true.
offer.
Yes.
And companies like us who always put the patient's interest first, if you come with us, or if you choose the right provider, do your research and come with an open mind, India is going to be a great adventure.
Definitely. You just got to get out of the tourist lens and have the lens of health experience.
Yeah.
And the welcoming feel we get. It's like having a huge hug when we
Yeah.
come here. It really is.
Something I think of course, COVID was a big setback, I think, even for you, because I think you were working as a tour guide before Bumps, Tums and Gums. So what were the challenges that you faced around that point of time?
I was very lucky during COVID because I'd been teaching, had my own travel agency. Yes, the travel industry died. And I was very fortunate. I was approached and I started running courses for disempowered women who had been disempowered in New Zealand, women who had lost their jobs, lost their confidence. And so during COVID was actually a moment where not only did I look at what I wanted to do with my goals, but also it was an opportunity for me to get out into New Zealand and work with those people that were struggling. So during that time, I met lots of women around New Zealand, and it was a challenging time for everybody. But like you, it gave me that time to start recognizing where I wanted to take this. And that's when I thought the travel industry, and like I said, I've been in it since leaving school, working for airlines and training and all of that. I realized that the industry was never going to be like it used to be. And so I had to diversify. And because I'd already been doing trips to Thailand and Mexico, it gave me that time to think, where else can I develop this? Which is why I did a lot of research and came up to India. And so the challenge, though, you're right, is that the rolling of the eyes. You go to where? India? And I have a lot of photographs and I talk to people and tell them my experience. And I think my biggest challenge is finding people. Like Anna's very lucky. She's got a fantastic team, a really good crew. For me, I'm building up my crew because it's very hard to find like-minded people.
Yeah.
And I've got like-minded people now. I've got people who are coming up here with me. Claire, I've got Hope coming up. I've got people coming up who have got my back and I've got their back. And it's very hard to find those people with that similar outlook on things.
Absolutely.
And have that same warmth for the clients.
And it's not only a business. Healthcare is not a business.
No.
You have to put yourselves in your client's shoes.
Yes.
Have that empathy towards, somebody who's traveled miles across the world and he's come here for a surgery, not for a trip, you know.
And you're right. I do remind them that. I say sometimes you've got to remember we're here. Remember the end game. We're here for the surgery. The holiday aspect is lovely.
Yeah.
And having those odd trips to the market is fabulous. But you've got to keep that focus on why you came. You're absolutely right there.
I think, you being a CEO of a particular company and also traveling with the clients that you're dealing with, I think that's something which is very different. And I think, it's something that makes you bond with your patients or your clients in that matter. And I think that gives them a sense of belonging. Like, okay, she's there. We can fall back onto her.
Absolutely. And it could be the little things like, can you do up my bra? Or can you help me with this, my shoes, because I've had a time. And it's the little things you don't actually think about before you come away. And it can just be listening, sitting by the bed and listening to their story, their journey. And I don't even have to say anything. It's just listening to people. And sometimes that's all they need. To be heard.
So for physical and medical support, there are surgeons, there are nurses, there are support staff. But to vent out your feelings, the emotional support, I think that's very, very important. And that aids in recovery, that makes the recovery process easier. If you're all alone focusing completely on, I have a pain this, there and there.
Yeah.
So that is where we bridge that gap, So
I think, you're right. Attitude is really huge as well. And I always say to my clients, having the right attitude. Now, something my husband said to me, he said, I notice those people that live local to where I live will come to my home and we'll sit for coffee. And my husband always says, for example, I'm going to give an example as a facelift. When they come around, they'll sit like this. And everything's covered. And he said, and then, because I keep up seeing them when I get back, and he said, and then they come around after surgery and it's like, hi, look at this. It is because they've gone with a poor me and they come out looking great. But I always say the attitude makes a difference. If you're going to go with a not a victim mentality, but the poor me mentality, I believe it slows down healing. Whereas you can go, I can do this. I can get through this, and they do.
Yeah,
and they do.
I think this is one of our surgeons also say the very same thing. You need to come with a positive attitude when you're planning to come for any medical procedure, because that, of course, it helps in case of healing as well, and also that brings up a mindset where you actually want to heal.
That's right. Absolutely.
And if you're surrounded by right people who are supporting you, who understand you, whom you can trust that you are in best and safe hands, then, it makes the sailing very smooth.
And it's the synergy between the group.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to say it's all me. It's about the synergy of the group. We all sit around for dinner, we laugh, we talk. Then you get a couple of ladies go, I'm going to the mall, I'm coming too. And then someone goes, I'm going here, I'm coming too.
Yeah.
It is that whole camaraderie
Right.
that happens.
Right.
Because there's a couple of things with group. They're secure in numbers. You know, they feel secure.
Right.
All their airfares and hotels are already paid for back in New Zealand, so all they need is their spending money and the money for their surgery.
Right.
So there's that feeling of togetherness, of safety, security. But what they don't realise, they come back with all these new friends. They really do. They keep those friendships going.
So even if for patients with us who are not coming in groups, like patients from the US, Canada, we make them feel at home.
Right.
Our team on the ground, we just do the same thing.
Yeah.
So for individual patients, we understand, that they are all alone here and they need that emotional support.
Yes.
So we make the process completely easy for them.
And we can still do that. If anybody in New Zealand or Australia or anywhere you like, I can still talk you through it. You don't have to come on a group. I mean, it's great if you do. But some people can't fit in the dates. They got childcare problems or whatever. It's never a problem. I ring my lovely friends here and go, right, I've got somebody coming over. I booked the flights. They're arriving on this date. I know someone is there to pick them up and they'll be well looked after.
Thank you for trusting us.
So before we move ahead, I would also like to address the fact that Ms. Anu has recently been awarded with the India's Emerging Women of Influence in 2026, and also she'll be on the covers of CEO magazine, which is something to applaud again.
Yes.
And so I think, what has this award impacted you in any way, like in case of your journey, and how is this impactful in your life?
So what I feel is more than a personal title, it just validates our mission of doing good. It validates the mission that you can lead with empathy in our healthcare business, which is very transactional sometimes or very number oriented. If you're leading with empathy, so you can still build a profitable business. And we continue to do the good work that we're doing, and it's not one person's achievement, or it's about the teamwork. I have a team of lovely people, and I would like to empower those girls, take their own decisions and keep doing the good work.
I think, with Ms. Anu's case, the thing is, one thing that I personally love and enjoy is the fact that it's women-owned and women-run business.
I totally agree, and I applaud that so much, totally. And one thing I noticed with the team, and this doesn't happen anywhere else in the world really, I ask for a price for something, I have an answer within 24 hours. And that's because you've got a great team behind you.
Absolutely.
But you lead from the back. A team, the best leader leads from the back and lets their team flourish, which is, I believe, what you do.
No, I think even in that aspect, I think the work culture and the work environment has been as such that, it is somewhere pushing you to do your best and at the same time exploring what you like to do more. Like if I would say in my case, I would actually like to point this out because I wanted to do the podcast. I like talking to people. I really liked enjoying chatting with the patients. So she just, nudged me into the factor that, okay, you can just go ahead and do this. I mean, that's something which is quite commendable on her part, is what I feel. Like, she'll be nudging you to do, whatever you're, trying to do. Like, it was not my particular job to go ahead and meet a patient that was coming all the way from US. But, I asked her, like, I really wanted to do this. She was like, why are you asking me? Just go.
No, that's inspirational.
Yeah.
And that's what inspirational women do. And then you aspire to be like them. So I think it's all, we're building.
I think it's, staircase to, much more higher aspects to things. I think that's really wonderful on both of your part that, whatever you're doing, this beautiful collaboration. And I'm really happy that, like in a place, I mean, India is such a place which has brought, like, it's not very, it's quite difficult to find a woman leading a certain aspect in such a high position. So I think that's wonderful what we are doing.
We are a team, and
Exactly.
it's a teamwork.
And we're a sisterhood.
Absolutely. So anybody hesitant, coming back to the topic again. So anybody who is hesitant abroad in getting their treatments done in India, what would be something that you would like to say to them?
I would just like to say, do your research. Do your research thoroughly. Ask other patients who've been here. Talk to them. Look at their videos. Get their email IDs. Get their phone numbers. Talk to them. Understand what they had gone through. And do the research about the surgeons, about the hospitals, about the company you're traveling with. And do not just rush into the procedure. A thorough research always helps you. Yeah. And come with an open mind that, even if India is a developing country, there's so much to offer.
It can surprise them.
Yeah, so if India is on the world map because of software exports, now we are on a mission to put India on a world map, saying that healthcare is also as good
It
as
should be. I think it
our
should
IT
be.
is.
And for you, what
I think
would be
it's
something?
feel the fear and do it anyway. Break through that belief and know that you're in the best hands. And I think with New Zealand's ties with India, I believe that within the next 3 years there's going to be a lot more flights coming through to India with the free trade agreement, things like that. So it's going to open up a brand new world. So I think, we all have fears, but if you trust in me, I'll be there by your side. I'll be at your back the whole time.
So how would you want to term this collaboration in a single word?
Oh, in a single word.
I'll put you in a pickle there.
Me in a single word? I don't think I've ever done a single
move
word.
ahead with the paragraph then.
What would I say about this? I would say it's a collaboration of minds and of hearts. 3 words. Yeah.
I think we are getting there.
Yeah. Minds and hearts. I think that we're on the same page.
So bums, tums, gums, and hearts.
And hearts.
And hearts.
And hips and knees and toes. And I must... The name of my company came up with actually it was one of my students. It was in a different order, and I used to teach marketing and tourism marketing, and she knew I was already running tours up to Thailand, and she came up with a similar name. And I said, and I knew her really well. I know her family. I said, can I use that name? She said, oh, I'd love you to. And so it's a name that makes people smile, because there's so many beautiful this, beautiful that. It's all about your bums, your tums, your gums, and everything in between.
Yeah.
Right.
And my humour is my strongest characteristic, I think, and that follows through.
I think that's beautiful, and I think we will sum this up now.
Thank
you. Like, it was lovely speaking to these ladies over here today, and you can stay tuned for another episodes, and we'll be back with more stories and fun conversations with people from beyond borders. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Thank you.